And good morning, good afternoon, good night. I don't know where you are in the world. This is the Startup Sales Mastery video podcast. My name is Keith, and of course, we are the proud sponsors of the Co-Founder Club community. I know I'm pointing to the wrong direction. Hello, everyone. Another week. And this week, of course, if you've read the description, we are going to go through measuring metrics, which is actually more important than one would think, because it's all well and good doing all this hard work. But if we're not measuring the work that we're doing, it's no good. And considering this is the Startup Sales Mastery video podcast, and I'm assuming most of the people I'm speaking to are in the startup game, I believe the term that we use for that is KPIs, key performance indicators. So I'm going to be going through all this week long. Today, I'm going to give you a quick overview of what's going to be happening during the week. What are these KPIs? It's going to be a little bit numbers driven. There's definitely going to be some math. Lucky for me, I know the majority of our entrepreneurs are coming from a tech background, so their math skills are probably better than mine. The entrepreneur sides of things, guys, if you don't know your numbers, you're really going to struggle building a company. So these are really important things to have. So measuring metrics, KPIs, key performance indicators, this happens at absolutely every stage of your business. I mean, it doesn't really matter. And this is what the next 4 days are going to be about. Tomorrow, I'm going to start it off with inbound, which of course is marketing. So the key performance indicators of marketing, the difference between MQL, market qualified leads, SQL, sales qualified leads, and of course, measuring the ratios, 20-25% inbound to MQL plus, 5%. SQL. So we're going to go through all of these in details. If anybody knows what I just said, you're already ahead of the game. But it's basically measuring results, because once we can measure those results from inbound campaigns, we can then, calculate things like ROI, return on investment, and CAC, cost per acquisition. CAC, KAC, it's cost per acquisition. I can't remember the letters, but that's the marketing. Again, I'm a sales guy. I know the marketing stuff because I have to work with so many marketing people, but I am a sales guy. So that's that. And of course, the day after, we're going to go through what I do know, which is the outbound side of things. So again, we're talking about cold calling, knocking on doors, and going to conferences, events, anything that we actually get in front of our customers. Those statistics or ratios, now I'll move over to how many people, door-to-door campaign. How many doors did we knock on? How many people opened? How many of those people actually engaged us in conversation? Because there's a difference. Some people tell you to piss off. Some people engage the conversation. How many of those people were qualified, we'll say, as in fully capable of buying our product? Maybe some of them did not meet the needs, the means test to buy our product, and how many of them actually closed. And of course, as I mentioned in a previous video, statistics like that, we can accurately turn around and say, okay, next month I'm going to get this many sales because I have this much territory lined up. This is why we're going to use all of them. The same can be done in outbound campaigns to events. Cold calls, doesn't really matter. You may, 80 to 1 calls to close because you don't know what you're doing. That's okay as a new entrepreneur. That's okay. No big deal. 80 calls, that's what, a day or two. No problem. I might do, 1 in 10 because I have 10, 15 years experience. So who cares at the end of the day? You're going to do a little bit of extra work at the beginning. But the point is by knowing these KPIs, key performance indicators, knowing these metrics, we can actually measure ourselves. There's no room to hide in sales in this day and age. There's no, I've been working so hard, or, the leads were bad, or it's all KPIs. It's there for everybody to see. This happens at every single stage of the startup business, actually, just business in general, but the sales process, the marketing process. On what is it, Thursday, we're going to Friday. That's 1, 2. I know we're going to be going through the actual investor side of things. I've got that lined up because key performance indicators, of course, we're talking about financial projections, and we can use key performance indicators from our campaigns or other campaigns, those metrics to actually put into a financial projection. And your ability to do that and actually put that in front of an investor is exactly what gets you funded versus what the investor turns around and says, this guy has no idea what he's talking about. So again, really important KPIs if you didn't quite cop it. And the other time I'm going to go through the operational KPIs. Most people running a business, especially you tech entrepreneurs out there, this is one that you're probably going to know damn near more about than me. But this is just measuring things like, customer success, which as far as I'm concerned is vital to the sales process. The actual operational end, is it actually working, and how can we measure that? Because remember, me from a sales perspective, I'm selling that customer success, and I expect to keep that client and turn him into someone who will refer someone on to me. So again, we need to measure our operational, and of course this is startup mastery with the sales in the middle. The point is let me give you guys some of the startup stuff as well, because you cannot run your business without metrics. You just can't do it. So there's the investors, that, and then I'm going to top it all off with Financial Friday, where I am probably going to invite a couple of people to come with me to help out. But look, we're going to go through a P&L, profit and loss account, and of course, we're going to be attaching KPIs. So campaigns, how do the campaigns correspond to the numbers? And I'll briefly go through somewhat of the balance sheet, which in my mind is your liquidity, your solvency, because we also maybe have to factor in the IP, because the IP has a value if you were to shut down shop, hence solvency picks up. You may have not followed all of that, but don't worry, each day there's going to be an explanation. So what are metrics? What are KPIs? What really is it all about? It's about what I've just explained. It's about putting numbers to progress. It's about saying, what I'm doing, is it effective? You have an idea for a business. Wonderful. What is the goal that you want to achieve? I want to find a co-founder. Excellent. How many people have you engaged? Well, first I need to do, whatever it is you need to do. No, the first thing you need to do is actually go up to people and ask them. This is also known as a campaign. I'm sorry, everything is a campaign. You speak to 20 people and every single one says, no, nobody engages you in conversation. We have a metric. Boom, there's a problem here. You're opening. So we can fix that. Then we go speak to 20 more people, and lo and behold, 12 people tell us to go away and 8 people actually engage us in conversation, but nobody really wants to have a sit down coffee with us. So we know we have another problem there, and so we tweak that little bit, and then we go speak to another people, and out of our 20 people this time, magically another 12 are happy to engage us, and out of them, I don't know, eight people actually want to sit down and have a coffee with us, but nobody actually wants to go to the next level. Then we know we have to tweak that little bit. You see where I'm going with this? We can measure each part of these metrics. If I did a campaign like that, and for example, I spoke to 20 people and only 2 people spoke to me, but those 2 people went through every part of the chain, then I could just say, well, I probably solved my problem if they've gone through the part of the chain, but I could actually say, well, maybe there's something wrong with the front, because I know from other campaigns that I've run in the past that a 1 in 20, what's that, 10% conversion rate of first introduction is lousy. I know that most campaigns that I run when I walk up to people should be 30%, because I have data. I have other people's campaigns, and I have 6 campaigns that I've done behind my belt. So you can see how this actually starts to play ball, and it can get confusing to anyone who's not so good at math. It's literally every task that you do, every campaign, every action, every communication is measuring that against the next part and measuring that against your previous history. And this is how every single company, big corporate, all of them. Again, I'm only speaking for the startups. I've been in a few startup corporate environments, and I can tell you everything is KPIs. They absolutely love their CRM dashboards. The marketing guys love their analytics, their Google Analytics and Google Tag Manager. They live for those dashboards. We are in a data-driven world, and if you ever, a lot of the people in tech, they keep talking about data. This is what data is all about. That's what we're going through this week. It's not just data because numbers are wonderful, but the data, if you know how to read and interpret it, then you'll know what's working, what's not working, what's efficient, and what is a complete waste of time that you might want to drop. For example, if I did 5 different campaigns and I can see on 2 of my campaigns, stage 1 and stage 2 are kicking almighty ass, but stage 3 is just tanking, versus I have another campaign where stage 1 and 2 aren't going so well and stage 3 is through the roof. What am I going to do? I could look at this and say, you know what? I think it's easier to fix stage 1 and 2 here, instead of, because maybe this other campaign is bringing me loads of leads, which most people would be like, oh, but this is the campaign that's bringing me loads of leads. Yeah, but is it converting anyone? Are they the right leads? This is where we can use those KPIs to actually measure. If you don't really understand the way they all work, you would think, and I'm sure people watching this right now, you're probably thinking, but hang on, you're bringing so many more leads. I know from experience as a salesperson, if there's a problem on the back end, then you're bringing the wrong leads. If there's another campaign where there's a problem on the front end, but the back end is kicking ass, well, that means the back end, because that's where the money is, that's where the conversion is. That's where you want to focus always. I don't think there's much more to go on. I'm pretty sure you've got the idea here. Key performance indicators, you can look them up. They're everywhere, every part of the process. If you go to any incubator, any accelerator with the business plan, they're looking for financial projections, KPIs again. If you're looking for funding or grants, KPIs, what is the level of progress you've made? What is the progress that you can make? KPIs. They're not even looking for financial projections when they're actually evaluating your progress. Again, early stage startups, if you're getting your first customers, you need to track those KPMs so you'll know what campaigns are going to be effective. I've mentioned before, you should be starting your campaigns and then hand it over to a sales guy. You need to give him accurate KPIs that you have achieved in the past so that he knows, Mr. Salesman, you're going to come work for me, but you better beat these KPIs. Okay. I spoke to 1,000 people last month, and after speaking to 1,000 people, 200 people, we had good conversations. And out of those 200 people, I closed 50 people. Now that's 25% on conversation. If you can't close 25% conversation, then, you're not lasting another month. If you can, I'll give you I don't know, $5,000 bonus, whatever. That's how you get a sales guy's attention, by dangling the money, but having the KPIs prepared. You can simply turn around to them and say, yeah, it's 2,000 basic wage with and then this is how you phrase it for sales guys. If ever you're doing a job, you can simply turn around and say, $15,000 OTO, on target earnings, and then you can send out an ad. Yeah, we're looking for a sales guy, 15,000 OTO. The sales guy comes in and you tell him the terms. Yeah, it's only 2,000 basic, but it's 15 OTO. And if you look at my statistics that I did in the last 2 months, I achieved that. So if I can achieve that, I don't see why the fuck you can't achieve that. Of course, if you haven't achieved it, or there's no realistic, because he's going to know how to realistically evaluate the probability of hitting that, you're dead in the water. But this is the way it works with a lot of the big sales companies. Again, most people know that I worked for WalkMe briefly, and all the companies, I mean, they're somewhat similar. Like, they work you. Dear God, do they work you? If you want to hit their targets, you can't just work the hours. You have to work X amount of overtime, because it's not going to happen. You need more time to get more calls, to do whatever. I hit my target in month 1 because I started in February, and that was the end of the February, March. No, sorry, I started in March. I just remember it was the last month of the quarter, and I just went to hit it, just to push it, just to show everyone that I could. And then the next quarter, I hit full target with 3 days to spare. And then the next quarter, I pushed it with everything that I've got. But I'm just saying that the targets, if you've worked in these things, they can be hit, but they set the KPI so high that when you work it backwards, you realize that you need to make 150 calls a day to actually hit those targets. So every day I go in 5 days a week, I need to make 150 calls at 750 calls a week. And I know starting on a Monday that if I don't hit my 750 calls a week, it's not going to happen. And in order to pull that off, I need to make my 150 calls a day. So if I've kicked off, let's say I'm doing the European USA run, maybe I'm going to kick off at about 12 in the afternoon. I know by about 8 o'clock, if I haven't made at least 100 calls, I'm already starting the week off on a bad run. And I can do this because I know my metrics, I know my KPIs. When it comes to Thursday, if I'm not already on 600 phone calls, I know it's going to be problematic. Now, if I'm on 700 phone calls and my actual qualifications or sales are down, I'm not going to panic. Excuse me. The reason I'm not going to panic is because a concept called law of averages, which basically states that over a long enough timeline, the averages always play ball, pending market stuffs and all, but we're not going into that in this video podcast because we're sticking to the KPIs. I'll leave that to another one. I'm just trying to say that if you're going to do a campaign as a new entrepreneur and you do it one day and you get nothing, that doesn't mean anything. You need to do it over like a month. Phone calls, people ask me, 500 is the minimum, 1,000 is really what you want. Why? Maybe the first 200-300 tank. Who cares? By the time you get to 500, 600, you'll start getting the hang of it, and then the law of averages will take over. If you've made 1,000 phone calls and you have sweet FA, stop. It's not working. You move on to the next. And 1,000 phone calls, realistically, if you can't pull that off in a month, contact me. I'll hook you up with some guys. I know all the good cold call groups and video rooms, as they're called. I'll get you in. Actually, hang on a second. I offer entry in the Startup Sales Mastery Program. The Startup Sales Mastery Program up top or down below, wherever the notes are, startupsalesmastery.com. Members, there's a special, I can't remember it is, but anyway, I hook you up with co-callers because, I hook you up with everybody I know. That's what I do, showing entrepreneurs everything that I know how to do. Then, of course, if you want to grow your company, build, scale your company, just hire me and my team to do either lead gen or sales because, that's what we do. Okay, a pleasure. If you have any comments, put them into the side there. I am all out because this was a mathematical intensive session. I will see you all for the rest of the week for metrics. And as always, go out there and blast the ever-loving hell out of it. Go get yourself some customers, make some money, and live the startup dream.